Gobero lies in the belly of the Sahara, the southern Sahara. This is the region known as the Tenere, and the Tuareg refer to this as a desert within a desert. It's one of the driest parts of the Sahara. It's the kind of stuff you imagine when you think of the Sahara Desert, these creamy dunes and a sea of sand and rock. This is also where Sereno, for nearly 2 decades, has been finding amazing dinosaurs nobody has ever seen before. And that was where he was when Gobero was discovered. He was in the midst of the most productive dinosaur expedition of his career. And they were in the tail end of this trip when they were out prospecting. And Mike Hetwer, who was the team's photographer, stumbles across these 3 dunes that are spilling over with human skeletons.
The first time I saw the site in 2000, and we came around and saw these skeletons, and we were looking at them and looking at the artifacts around them, in a moment, a shiver went up my spine, and I realized that, I'm looking at my own species.
They knew enough to understand the geology and some of the artifacts that they were finding. This was Stone Age culture. Not only that, but the animal bones were from a period that was much wetter. Things like hippopotamus, crocodiles, elephant. Not what you expect to find in the middle of one of the driest places on Earth. And so the mystery began. We all talk about the Egyptian pyramid builders, but who laid the groundwork for this? Before you could build pyramids, you had to figure out how to divide labor. And here we're seeing human beings learning how to divide up jobs and share their efforts to create a larger enterprise. The other side of this is a much more human reaction. It's so easy to look at Stone Age skeletons and pieces of skeletons and forget that they're human beings. And as we stood around this gravesite and watched as they carefully brushed away the sand, a young woman and 2 children buried together holding hands emerged, and it was very clear that they had been put in these positions in a display of love. All of this transcends the academic questions of who these people were, and it really strikes at the heart of these are people who loved and faced tragedy, and this is our human heritage. What does a scientist do when you find a discovery like this that's not in your area of expertise? To Paul's great credit, he didn't just ignore it. This is such a harsh environment, and every year that these dunes are exposed, the wind winnows them down further. There's a finite amount of time that this find is going to be available to even look at because the desert will consume it. What's frustrating about this is that there are more questions still out there about Gobero than we have answers. But there's been a flare-up of tensions between some of the Tuareg and the government. The government has declared Agadez in the northern part of Niger off limits to foreigners, and so they missed the 2007 dig season. They missed the 2008 dig season. Hopefully they can go back in 2009, but the desert doesn't wait for politics to sort themselves out.